What's going on, YouTube? Nice video for you today. It's going to be an oil change on a 2004 Lexus ES330. Will be basically the same thing if you have a similar year Toyota Camry or Avalon that has this engine right here. So everything you're going to need is as follows. You're going to need 5 quarts, 5W30, using Pennzoil Ultra Platinum. An oil filter, crush washer, only about 20 cents, so you should be changing these out. Not really any good reason not to. Mechanics tool set, and you're going to also need a Phillips head screwdriver. You don't need the impact driver or impact wrench or any of that stuff. I'm going to do a tire rotation later, but I'll show you the exact socket sizes you need and give you the torque specs. Also, funnel. Working in the rocks, so put some cardboard down for back and in case you have any spills. Also using the race ramps. They got several different products, really good quality. So right underneath you're going to have your splash guard. You're going to have a couple screws you're going to want to take off. This will give you easier access to the oil filter. Well, actually just access in general. So you got one here. This will pop out. I'm gonna undo about maybe 3 of these. So this is what you'll need the Phillips head for. I'm going to take these off and then show you what we're looking at. Also, from dead center, the oil pan is straight back, right across from your passenger tire. Alright, so with the 2 removed, disconnect here, you'll have access to the oil filter. There's also a little catch can here. So when you undo the oil filter, drop the top into here and you can let it drain down and it will funnel right out of that spout right there into your oil pan. Let that drain for a little bit and then take it off and discard of it. Now we're going to get started. There's an overhead view right under the exhaust manifold here. There's the oil filter, and there's that drain pan or whatever you like to call that for the oil filter. Unscrew and drop it down there and let it funnel down. There's your drain plug, 14 millimeter. Use a 1/2 inch ratchet. Make sure you got your oil pan set up, that you are ready to start taking oil. Get this cap off. Last thing you want to do is have a rush of oil and then be scrambling for that. That broke free real easily. This is, I believe, 32 foot-pounds. Did the oil about 3,000 ago. I do my oil change intervals early versus late. It's just a peace of mind for me. I'm sure you could definitely go well past 5,000 with Ultra Platinum, full synthetic. I pretty much do all highway driving, but this car is cherry and it's got 60,000 miles on it, and we own several vehicles, but I do want to keep it until I want to see how far it will make it in life. I'll probably keep this car for 200, 300,000 miles if it goes. So this is starting to slow down. I'm gonna let this go a solid 10 minutes from drip. My wife's making breakfast, so I'll eat some eggs and potatoes and bacon and then come back to it. Now at this point, if your crush washer is stuck on, which mine is, don't panic. Usually just a little bit of a finger, or just give it a light little tap with a pocket knife or a screwdriver, and it'll come right off. Don't go crazy with it and try to gouge the pan or anything. Just take it easy and just give it a light, just pry it off. Don't go stabbing. Alright, so I just got my torque wrench, 3/8 torque wrench. We're set at 32 foot-pounds. Definitely don't need one of these. Once you do these a few times, do a couple oil changes, you'll know what's tight and what's proper. It doesn't have to be crazy tight. You'll see the crush washer expand. You'll know you're good. I always take my plug off, give it a quick inspection. Check the threads. As you can see, the oil, it's about 3,200 miles since I did a change, and it is still looking pretty good. Wasn't really dark, absolutely no sludge. Now I'll wipe this off and then I'll put the crush washer on. Now we're set up and ready to go on. We're going to thread this in by hand. Take your time, make sure it goes in nice and smooth. If it doesn't feel like it's going in smooth, back it out and just go again. As you can see, we're perfectly in the threads. Should be nice and smooth like that. If it ain't going in like that, take it all the way out. Back it all the way out. Give it another shot. So this is in there perfectly. That's a good time after you tighten it up. Give everything a good wipe. Wipe away. That way, wait after you tighten it up and top it off with oil. Start the car. Then you can look underneath and make sure you're not leaking, so you don't have any. At this point, nothing else should be coming out after you tighten her down. There we go. That's at 32. Alright, so this is how I like to get the oil filter. I like to reach right up here and get it from underneath. Turn it and then drop it in there and let it drain down into the pan. Let it drain for like 2 or 3 minutes. Pull it out from underneath, throw it away, and replace. Real quick, if you're having trouble getting off your oil filter, I mean, I put mine on all the time by hand, so I can always get mine off barehanded, but you can always use these. It's a pretty nice tool. Bare hand and with the gloves, I can normally get just about anything off, unless somebody really hammered it down. Then I usually prefer these out of the 3. So this was at Lowe's for like $8. Picked it up one day. It was nice to have in the arsenal. Right now we're twisting off. I got her in there. She's draining right down into the pan. After that drains, discard that, wipe your area down, and we are pretty much done all the hard stuff. Quick break during the oil change. Now these Denso filters are high-end. They come sealed, greased already. Only other filters I normally use on our vehicles are the K&N Gold. I also will use the Fram XG, the 20,000 mile filter, which is pretty good. There's tons of reviews out there, guys cutting them up and examining them. I never go 20,000 miles, but they're good quality. Get up close to it. I guess you can see the coating that they applied from the factory. This is a very stout can too. When you squeeze it, that's another way you'll tell. So this isn't one of those cheap $3 cans. Now I reach up there and I give the mating surface a quick wipe with a paper towel or a shop towel. It's all clean, looking good. As you can see, this Lexus has tons of threads, so when you thread in, always when you take your old one off too, always make sure that O-ring's still intact before you go trying to put one up there and you can't see real good. Because if that stays on and you put the new oil filter on, you're not going to have a good seal and it's going to be spewing oil all over the place. Alright, so you'll thread that new one on, and just as it starts to get tight, just give it another like quarter turn, half turn, until you know it's a little tight on the wrist, and then just don't wrench it on real hard, because you know 3, 4, 5 months later when you do your oil change, it's going to be hard getting it off. At this point, I take the towels, I give everything in here a little wipe down, make sure all is good and clean. Another month or two, I'm going to do this whole vehicle with AMSOIL heavy duty metal protectant, which is like a fluid film kind of anti-rust rust inhibitor. At this point, we're torqued down on our drain plug, oil filters on and installed. We will do add 5 quarts. I add a little bit less than 5, like 4.8, 4 3/4 of a quart, and then bring it down, let it idle 30 seconds, a minute or two, cut it off, check for leaks, and then I also visually check the dipstick, see where we're at there, and then usually top it off, just in case. You never know exactly how much came out. Make sure you're in the good zone. So that's what we're going to do now, top it off. Alright, so I just added 4.5 quarts. Went a little low. I'll show you after the startup, show you where it shows on the hash marks on the dipstick. One other thing I forgot to say earlier in the video is now is a good time to basically do a basic pre-trip inspection on your vehicle when you're doing the oil change. Top off washer fluid, make sure your coolant's in the good, take a look at your belts. Just did the timing belt and water pump, so I know I'm good there for 7 years or 100,000 miles, give or take. Good time just to give it a good inspection, see how everything's looking. Open up that air filter box, see, tap it out if you haven't done it in a while, or just look at it, see if maybe it's worth spending the 10-15 bucks on a replacement. Alright, so at this point, put the engine oil cap back on. We are going to get our splash guard screws. Crawl back under the rocks and put this up. We just started up. Let idle for 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And let it sit for 5 minutes, let it rest. Check the oil. Let's see where we're at. Alright, so now we did an intentional half quart low. And if you can see that. So we're right between the two holes on the dipstick, right in the middle. So I'm going to add the other half quart, and that should put us in the perfect spot. This engine does require 5, but that will let you know that when you are in the middle, you're about a half quart low. Lighting has to be just right to see it, but that is 4.5 quarts right there. Alright, just finished off that bottle. We are 5 quarts right there. That is perfect. Hope this helped you out. One other last little tip is on your engine oil cap. Every time I do an oil change, I take that off. Wipe that down on the underneath. There's usually some dirt and debris at the bottom of it. Just road dirt. But that's about everything. Gonna do some tire rotations now. I hope you enjoy. Leave a comment or question. Take care.